Hi everybody, it's Peggy. I'm back with another video, and today we are talking about why Etsy gets so much hate. So, why does Etsy get so much hate? Well, they don't. Okay, what Etsy gets is disgruntled sellers talking shit every chance they get, and then experts, people who think they know more than they do, latching onto that and writing articles, putting together exposés, going on and on and on about it. So let's just talk about what's going on with Etsy when it comes to, you can't do an Etsy search without finding post after post, comment after comment. Etsy sucks. Etsy's doing this. Etsy's doing that. And so let's just break down some of that. The number one issue with Etsy is disgruntled sellers. There's 7.5 million people selling on Etsy right now. Obviously, there's people that have tried it, didn't work out, they went away. That, like, if you look at the total number of people who have tried Etsy, you've probably got another 1 or 2 million people who have tried Etsy. It didn't work out. They shut down their shops. They walked away. So you could have up to like 10. We could be talking 10 million people here. Well, there's a customer service saying that 5% of the people cause 95% of the problems. Well, as Etsy sellers, we are customers of the Etsy platform. We've got the exact same problem. We've got the exact same problem with Etsy, where less than 5% or less of the sellers are causing 95% of the problems. The problem, though, the reason why this gets so fucking out of control is because every single one of us, because this is online selling, has a camera. I am sitting in front of a camera. You can see the ring light in the background because I have to be able to get my products on social media. So for the most part, people on Etsy have some degree of social media experience. Well, social media is famous for highlighting the shit and burying the good. It's easier to find insults than compliments on social media no matter where you go. And what happens if you're having problems on Etsy, things aren't clicking and you need to reach out? Most people reach out to social media. So we get flooded with this shit. But if you have the opportunity to slow down, take the time, see what they're saying, see how they're saying it, you can see the flaw. You can see the flaw in the logic. I'm all over the social media. I'm on the social media all the time. I believe one of my strengths, this is a bizarre strength, but it's been working for me, is to learn from other people's mistakes. Now, if that's you, if you're like, oh, this didn't go right for this guy, what's going on? What happened? How can I avoid making that mistake? If this is something that works for you, then you're going to find yourself all over the social medias, and you're going to be hearing from disgruntled buyer after angry buyer after really angry sellers. You're going to be hearing all this shit from people who literally should be shutting the fuck up because they don't know what they're talking about. They had a bad experience, therefore Etsy is evil and everyone must know. I have had people, I have a social media, I have a Facebook group, Etsy Canada, for anybody who cares. The only thing that I ask is that you either be a Canadian or be someone who sells to Canada. I see this all the time in my group. People coming in going, oh, this happened, and why isn't because in my group, if you come into shit talk, I'll just show you right the fuck back out the door because I've got no patience for that shit. The reason why I got into my group was because the shit on other groups, I've seen so much garbage in some of these other groups, and they let it go, oh, we're just venting. It's like, no, you're not. You're shit talking, and you're riling up everybody. New sellers are coming in looking for help, and your idea of help is, oh, go tell your customer to fuck off. They're garbage. It's like, no, you're garbage. Get the fuck out of my group. Anyway. And I get complaints constantly. Why don't you let us just vent? We're just venting. We need to get it out of our system. It's like, no, you're shit talking, and you want everybody else to shit talk, and you want to turn this into a fucking clown show where anybody who's actually trying to get real advice is going to get advice that's more likely to shut them down. I have seen people literally say, they can't stop you from selling copyrighted stuff. Etsy's just being evil. You can't do Etsy. You can make Etsy do this. You can make Etsy do that. So, angry people, access to social media. People don't go into social media if I'm on social media because, like I said, I have a strong ability. I've always had a strong ability to learn from other people's mistakes. So I do benefit from the social media. Plus, Social media is a great way to be aware of what's happening as it's happening. If something's not like, and let's be honest, Etsy's got a huge Etsy's guidebook. If you were to print it, would be like a foot tall, right? There's things about Etsy I don't like. Of course, there's things about Etsy I don't like. So I just don't make use of those things, or I learn more about it, learn what kind of problems people are having with it, so I can. Oh, I don't have a problem with it because I did this. Oh, does that seem reasonable? Okay. There's always a reason, because we're selling online, there's always a reason to be looking things up online. We as a seller, I bang my head against this wall every fucking day. Every day. Of people just, hi, I'm having a problem with this. This is Etsy's fault. Etsy's horrible. Etsy is ripping us off by charging us fees. It's like, wait a second. Etsy's got some of the lowest fees around. And Amazon, eBay, those guys charge way the fuck more. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm going to start my own website because I'm doing this, because Etsy sucks. It's like, you're going to pay some guy $2,000 to set up your website so that you can get away from the evil Etsy because you've only made 2 sales in the last 6 months because your product sucks, because you're linking your product everywhere. Which, by the way, don't do that. I need to do a completely separate video on why you do not want to, like, how to advertise on that, how to advertise your Etsy shop. I really need to do an entire fucking video on just that. Okay, so what happens? Angry people egging on other angry people, people who are less experienced, thinking that they're listening to the voice of experience, getting scared. I have read some crap on Etsy that if I didn't know better would have scared the hell out of me. The only reason why I know better is because I've been doing this for like 4 years. They came up with when they started taking the sales taxes. People were losing their fucking minds. Etsy's ripping off my customers and stealing tax money, and it's like, Etsy is charging the sales tax and giving it to each individual state or province. If you're not in Canada or the U.S., you're probably not dealing with this, but in Canada and the U.S., Canadian law and U.S. law has both changed, and Etsy now has to collect the sales tax on our behalf to make sure it gets remitted, right? Etsy's stealing from us. I have to lower my prices to make up for the taxes Etsy is charging. It's like, why? Okay, so we've got really, really angry people that Etsy's not working out for them, and they want it to work out for them. They are priced so low that if they didn't take the fees into consideration when they set their prices, so now they're barely making any money because Etsy fees average out to around 10%. Nothing wrong with that. Which is normal, and it's still some of the lowest fees you'll find. Other platforms are charging 10% and then the credit card fees. Etsy's fees are around 10% all in. And it costs you 20 cents to put up a listing, and you don't pay a cent until that item sells. And you have 4 months to sell it. Other platforms, Shopify, you're paying like $80 to $100 a month whether you sell anything or not. And people are switching over to Shopify because Etsy has too many rules, and it's like, so? So what? Etsy's making me money. Like, I have to follow a few rules that I may or may not agree with, but I'm making money, and nobody wants to have the intelligent conversation. Everybody wants to be fucking angry. People don't. It's a really common thing, and it's really common. No matter where you go, you walk in to see a movie, and you walk into a theater, and there's some popcorn. Oh, this place fucking sucks. There's popcorn all over the floor. It's like some kid may have just spilled that popcorn 2 seconds ago, but you're judging an entire theater chain based on your single bad moment. We all do it. We all get inordinately pissed off over something that's minor or not even the fault of the person, situation, organization that we're blaming, right? Okay. Etsy didn't choose to start collecting sales taxes. Etsy was forced into it by government legislation. Etsy cannot if you are selling to a sanctioned country, to or from a sanctioned country, Etsy can't let you do it because it's the rules. It's not Etsy's rule. It's a U.S. government rule, and if Etsy allows you to sell, say, to Cuba, I want to sell Cuban cigars or Cuban products, Etsy's going to shut you down because if Etsy lets you keep selling, the government's going to walk in and shut them down. Understanding where the rules come from, whether I like the rules or not, understanding where they come from is huge. It's hugely important. I have seen rules that Etsy has no fucking choice because it's just a recipe for disaster, and people are like, Etsy sucks for doing it. Here's a rule, Etsy charges their same fees on your shipping. Okay, way back in the day. I think they had just stopped doing it around the time that okay, I'm going to get right to the story. I could literally derail with details forever. Okay. At one point in time, Etsy only charged their fees on the cost of the product. And your shipping fees, because, if you're charging $10 for shipping, the assumption is that it's going to cost you $10 to ship the item. Well, Etsy was super generous and didn't charge fees on that. Oh, that's shipping. That's a different thing. So we're not going to charge the sellers. You know what fucking happened? And this is what people don't take into consideration. What happened is people started charging $1 for their item and $200 for their shipping just to avoid the fees. So Etsy had to stop doing it. Etsy's not being evil. Their customers are being fuckheads, and they had to put a stop to it because Etsy has to pay their staff. They do have, I think they have share. Is Etsy on the stock market? If I'm investing in something, I expect to make a profit. I'm not doing it for charity. So yeah, if they have investors, they have profits to pay out to their investors, to the people who have given them money so that they could start this business, so that I could go into business and get rich. I don't have to like it, but that is the reality of every single business. Every single business, they have expenses. They have to cover those expenses. I keep my prices as low as I can, but I am not a nonprofit here. I mean, I use my money to take the wife out to dinner. We've actually, a couple of years ago, we went ahead and bought a car, and I decided that for my Etsy money, I can do the car payment. This was supposed to be a side gig for me. That's fine. I am not, if somebody comes to me and says, well, you're making if you can afford a car payment, you're making way too much money. It's like, if I can't afford a car payment, I'm putting a fuck ton of time into this for nothing. Right? I'm not working for $1 an hour. Nobody would. No sane person would work for $1 an hour. Okay. So. See? Off on a tangent, off on a fucking rant. So, what happens is people get really fucking angry. If you are not priced in a way that's profitable to you, throwing a fucking fit all over the internet because Etsy is profiting is stupid. It's stupid. And I've done stupid things that I've had to come back and fix. Maybe we need a better word for it that doesn't make it sound like it's blame, because people can't deal with being blamed. I have done stupid things on Etsy that I've had to come back and go, oh wow, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And yes, that is a word a lot of people, but we don't have better language. So what happens? Oh, I did something wrong. It's like, so what? So what? Oh, well, I did something wrong. I feel bad. This isn't working for me, so I'm going to go to social media and blame somebody else. Refusing to take the blame for your own mistakes is a huge fucking problem in society to begin with. This is part of what's happening to Etsy. So you've got disgruntled sellers. Things aren't going the way they want them to, and they're taking it out on Etsy. And they're doing it publicly because they have... I'm sitting in... The camera I am babbling at right now is the camera I take my product photos with. The light that is bouncing off my glasses here is the light that I use to make sure that I'm getting good lighting on my products. So if I am a disgruntled, angry Etsy seller who is just mad at the fucking world, I've got a computer because I had to put my listings online. I've got everything I need. I'm going to go on social media and I'm just going to lose my fucking shit. So that happens. Okay. So. Should you be on the social medias? You probably should. If you take your business seriously, or if you want to take your business seriously, if you want to grow, you should be on the social medias. And like I said, most of them allow the most atrocious, I can't even say the word. I was like, I'm so busy. I'm ranting about, I'm getting angry about the angry people. Okay. When something happens on Etsy, you'll hear it there. You'll see it on social media first. You'll see the more detailed information. But you'll see a lot of hate. You have to wade through a lot of hate to get where you're going. So what happens? So Etsy has a bad reputation. I have literally had people come to me and say, I really wish I could buy from you, but Etsy has such a bad reputation. It's like the only reason why Etsy has a bad reputation is because of disgruntled sellers losing their shit all over everybody because they've done something they shouldn't do, or they've done something badly, or they've made a critical mistake. And they're not willing to take responsibility for their own crap, so they're blaming it on Etsy, and people are believing it. Something's happening that's not very popular. Etsy is implementing a policy, a procedure, something that's not very popular. People are losing their shit. Oh my God, Etsy's forcing me to do this. We get this about shipping all the goddamn time. All the fucking time. People are coming in, and they're like, Etsy is forcing me to track every single package, but I sell stickers. I can't sell, and of course, you cannot sell a single sticker if you have to track it. Shipping is expensive in Canada, so this is a bigger argument in Canada than it is in the States. You know, I can't sell a $1 sticker and then charge them $8 for tracked shipping. It's like, no, you can't. So figure it the fuck out. Like, people come in and go, oh, we'll do this, do this, do this. That doesn't work. Have you tried it? I'm not making any money if I do. They're freaking out. They are freaking out. Oh, then just don't track. You don't have to. Etsy doesn't force you to track. Etsy just makes it more appealing to track. Because track packages, if a package is tracked and your customer comes back and tries to fuck you over saying, I didn't get my package, you need... Etsy can look at that and go, well, the tracking number says it was delivered, so we're not going to... So this customer is like, you know, sorry, customer, but you've got... It's your problem. The tracking says it was delivered. If you don't track, it's like, if you don't track, you can't prove it was put in the mail. So in the case of a dispute, you're going to go, okay, well, I mean, I didn't track it. I didn't track it. My bad. You're saying you didn't get it. Here's your money back. Sellers lose their shop for this because, well, my policy is no refund, so I'm not giving you your money back. Hey, I don't have the fucking package. Well, I don't believe you. You're a scammer. Oh, I'm going to report you. It's done. Okay, it's not a one-step process, but anyway. People who do not trust people, if you are a generally not trusting person, then you're going to look at every interaction with every customer as a scammer trying to fuck you over. We get a lot of that. But like I said, 7.5 million people. There's not that many people. When you really, really, really look at the numbers, I've got 7.5 million people on Etsy. My Etsy group is only 7.5 thousand. And when people come in doing really, really stupid things that they shouldn't be doing, I take them out of the group. I'm such an ass. It's bad. I am. It's like, I mean, if you come in going, hey, look at this. Look, I'm selling ears, but they're not Disney ears. This is a really popular thing, Disney ears. Look at my ears. They're not Disney though, so it's not copyright. It's not this, it's not that. It's like, and it's not something I want. It's not, you know, you don't need to be in my group. Go find another group who thinks copyright infringement is awesome. I have feels because as much as I don't give a shit about Disney, if Disney loses the right to protect themselves, how the fuck am I ever going to protect myself? If somebody with billions of dollars behind them can't win in court, then I haven't got a fucking chance. And we see this a lot too. Oh, so-and-so stole my design. So-and-so stole my design. Etsy's horrible. They let it happen. Etsy's horrible. They let it happen. Oh, but I don't know why Disney gets away with protecting their copyright. It's like, because if they can't, we can't. It's then what little bit of shit's not going our way is going to even less go our way. Anyway, I'm just on a rant and I don't fucking care today. I'm probably just going to leave all of this in. I don't think unless I do or say something horrendously bad, I'm probably not even going to edit this. Okay, so the thing is, angry people who aren't having a good time on Etsy are coming in and they're being angry. And people are eating this shit up. Don't we all love a good fucking train wreck? That's fine. Oh, look, here's a fucking train wreck. But don't walk in believing everything you hear. If all you're hearing, I will tell you right now, if somebody says, oh, your customer's a scammer and you should just go tell them off and do this and do that, you need to ask yourself, is that person just enjoying, grab the popcorn and are they just helping to stir up the shit show? Or are they actually onto something? Because half the time they're fucking not. They're just angry. Yeah, I had this happen yesterday. I used to see this all the time in my group, and I finally put a fucking stop to it because somebody would come in and go, "Oh, this happened to me, and I'm not sure how to respond to my customer." And they're asking a legitimate question. This is a legitimate question, like, my customer's really upset because this happened, and I'm not really sure how I should proceed. Common question. Look at the answers. Oh, tell your customer to fuck off. They're a scammer. They're doing this. They're doing that. And then what happens is, I had this happen to me, and everybody's all of a sudden sharing fucking war stories. This really, really creates a warped perception of what's going on in Etsy. That's not what's happening in Etsy. People that are doing really, really well, don't have the fucking time to waste on social media. They're not in social media. Some people that are doing really, really well, I feel like I'm doing really, really, really well. I started off with a sales goal of $100 a month, and now I'm selling like 100 bags a month some months. So I feel like I'm doing well. I'm exceeding every single goal that I've ever set myself, and I'm doing okay. I'm having a good time. And I don't have a day job. I'm semi-retired. So I've got time for the social medias, and I do think that that's helped me. But I also think that I also feelings, facts, who knows, right? I think I've done a really good job of sorting out, of recognizing when somebody is just shit talking and sharing war stories because they're not having a good time, and when somebody's offering realistic, reasonable advice. So with that in mind, this is why I'm babbling today, because the thing is that learning how to determine the difference, learning how to tell the difference between somebody who is just venting and shit talking and somebody who's offering really good advice is a fine line. Here's something else that happens though. Some people are having it's not else. It goes along with this. Some people are having a really fucking hard time on Etsy. There's a few people in my group, and I'm gonna try not to. I'm never gonna name names. That is the fastest way to make everybody in the whole world fucking hate you. Anyway, I've had people in my group that are going, I keep having the same problem. I keep having the same problem. I keep having the same problem. Then you start talking to them, and it's like, oh well, I self-advertise in these groups. It's like, well, maybe certain people in these groups are spotting you, and okay, here's something that happens. If you're a scammer, what's the best place to find somebody who is probably going to be an easy mark? Social media. Social media. Scammers want into these groups. I probably have scammers in my group. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do. Okay. If I identify somebody who's clearly a fucking problem, they're out of the group. That's fine. There are other groups. There are other groups that, and mine's a Facebook group, so Facebook's a little bit easier. But there are other people other groups who will not remove problematic people because all the activity, the more active a group is, the more screen time Facebook gives it, and so the more likely people are going to want to that group. And I'm kind of getting off on the fact that I've got over 7,000 people in my group. That's kind of fucking awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But these people are like really living for this shit, right? And I don't, everybody. There's one group who once they hit 10,000 immediately switched over. They're like, oh, blah 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 blah. Now we're gonna do this thing where if you start, so they basically built up a group so that they could then flip it into a how-to group where people would start paying money to have access to all these higher end. Oh, if you want to be in the secret group, you need to start paying us. They turned it into they turned their growth and flipped it into a business. So they allowed all sorts of shit to happen because they needed the group to get as big as possible, as fast as possible. I forget how big the group was when this started happening, because as soon as I saw that, it's like, oh, because I was all over the groups. It's like, because I drink my morning coffee. Who doesn't enjoy a good train wreck now and again? And I can spot the bullshit. So it's like, oh, this is useless. Oh, here's an interesting thing. When something new is happening on Etsy, you're more likely to find out about it from, you'll probably find out about it from the social media groups before you will hear about it from Etsy themselves, because Etsy will send things out in batch. Etsy cannot shut down their entire server. They cannot shut down your business for however long it takes to send out 7.5 million emails. So they do it in batches. So there's a really good chance that other people are dealing with it first. They may even do a test area. That's a whole separate thing. But anyway, I keep defending why I'm all over the social media, but I'm doing well, and I don't listen to the bullshit. I don't fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. People love to spread that shit, and they love to spread it thick. Okay, so what was I on? I was on about something. Then I distracted myself. Where the hell am I right now? This is my problem, is I can't pick a single train and stay on it. I have to do this. Anyway, there are people that are coming in. They've got a problem. They're asking for help. And people are just coming in and telling them, they're venting. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Etsy sucks. Here's why. Make them do this. Make them do that. It's like, no, it's Etsy's sandbox. They can do business with you or not, and they don't even have to give you a reason. That kind of sucks. What if Etsy has a huge fucking problem with people making videos like this? My shop is linked. I don't care if you, okay, well, yeah, whatever. If you want to buy from me, but I just link it there to prove that I actually have a shop. But what if Etsy finds my video, sees the link, And they actually have a backdoor policy that says we don't like people doing this, so we're just going to shut you down. I'm certainly not going to fucking like it, but whatever. Anyway. I got on a couple tangents. Let's see if I can find a couple other tangents to get on. So we're talking about the Etsy hate. So most of the Etsy hate is coming from people who are having a really hard time, and they've got their head so far up their own ass that they are not looking for help. They are looking for validation. That's a problem. They are looking for, I know what I'm doing. I just obviously need to tweak it a little bit. It's like, no. One guy, this happens all the fucking time. I have a no refunds policy, and somebody is complaining because I've had so many complaints because people's packages are showing up damaged. And I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of having to explain to all these people that I don't do refunds. It's like, how many packages are we talking about? And I kid you not, this happens all the time. So basically what we're starting off here, we're starting off with a guy who refuses to understand that he could be doing something better. Oh, he's blaming the postal service. He's got a fucking problem that he's not taking responsibility for. He's blaming somebody else. And then it's like, well, why aren't you giving them a refund? You're obviously got a problem with your packaging that you need to fix. I'm not giving them my money. It's like, well, it's not your money until the customer is happy with their product and has decided that they're fucking keeping it. And that's a shitty, I am sitting here and I am nice and settled in, and then my leg starts to fall asleep. Okay. It's not that simple. Somebody pays me, the money is mine. But if there's a problem, I guess it's not mine anymore, because as a responsible business owner, I need to fix this and make sure that I don't destroy my own customer base by being a fucking dick. People are coming in going, how do I get away with being a dick, not giving people their money back, not fixing my problems that are causing this problem, and still stay in business? And you can't talk sense to people like that. The unfortunate reality is that Etsy is beginner town, and it really is. It's great. It's awesome. And some of these people, it shows. They're like, I'm here to make money. It's like, okay, so am I. Everybody's here to make money, some degree of money, some amount of money in some way, somehow, sometime, whatever. So the fuck is wrong with you? Then sell quality parts, sell a quality good that's not going to fall apart in shipping, and make sure it's packed properly so that you don't have that risk. Stop telling people that it's the post office fault when it's obviously your fault. Take responsibility. We don't see a lot of that. I got to stop and restart because my thing's running out of time. Okay, so we're on to taking responsibility. When you are a beginner, well, it's not my fault, I'm new at this. No, it's not your fault. You are new at this, but it's your responsibility to learn from that, grow. We don't see, okay, we see it all the time. Go on Etsy, 7.5 million. If 7.5 million sellers were all over the social medias, we would have, it would be crazy. It would be crazy. If I'm just sitting around minding my own business and I'm in the mood to interact, I can make, 20, 30 posts in an hour, 2 hours? You know, somebody makes a post, oh, that's really shitty, I hope you get that sorted out, oh, blah, 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 oh, blah, blah, blah. No, you can really, it's not happening the way people think it is. 7.5 million sellers means that if what is 5% of 7.5? Isn't that like, it's like 500,000 or something? No, okay, 7, 10, 3. I am having the biggest brain cramp in the history of the world today. That's gotta be like 600,000 people. 600,000 people disgruntled, screaming all over the internet. Yeah, it's gonna look bad. Okay, so Etsy's not the devil. Etsy is not the monster. Half the time it's these people. So you're coming in, you're looking for advice, and people are writing fucking, oh, how Etsy failed at blah. It's like, well, if Etsy failed at that, why do they have 7.5 million sellers? Right? It's like, why isn't, Amazon has a handmade section. Why doesn't that have 7.5 million sellers? Because Etsy has a built-in customer base of almost 100 million people, and everybody's sad that Etsy did. I've seen this. Oh my God, here's another one. Etsy isn't driving traffic to my shop. It's like, Etsy provides a search engine so that their 100 million people can find things to buy from you. It doesn't mean that they owe you your business. Anyway, Etsy is beginner town, and this is where it falls apart for a lot of people, because you've got a lot of people who just simply don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're saying. They've got a massive agenda of their own, and oh my God, that's crazy. and they've got imposter syndrome. So they don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to blame themselves. They want to be recognized as a business person. So they're just angry. And another thing that you see a lot, this is probably the biggest one. I always do this in reverse order. Anyway, one of the biggest things that you see is they hate their customers. It's like, if you hate your customers, close down your shop and leave immediately. Because if you're either going to have a really bad time with it, or you're eventually going to have a fucking heart attack. If you cannot communicate with people in a positive, proactive way, if you cannot have a little patience and tolerance when somebody's upset, if your first response, and I tell you right now, I kick people out of my group for this. Oh, I can't believe I had to deal with such a fucking Karen. I can't believe blah, blah, blah. It's like, I can't believe you're in my group. Get out. For starters, half these people that are doing this in groups where they're hoping to advertise their products. So it's like, okay, you want to come in and shit talk your customers, and then beg those exact same, oh, I hate customers, I hate people, I hate this, I hate that, and then beg these exact same people to come buy from you. No wonder you're having a bad fucking time. Remember those scammers I mentioned earlier? Who do you think they're going to go after? Somebody who's going to get no fucking community support. It's like, oh, well, you have a no refund policy, you do this. If scammers know the rules, they know how Etsy operates. And if you're like, well, I don't care if the package shows up damaged, that's not my fault, I'm never going to replace it, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. If you're a scammer, it's like, oh, yeah, you are. Okay, scammers are a fact of life. I've never been scammed. I'm all over the fucking social medias. I have my own group. I've never been scammed. I had a couple of times where I was like, oh, gee, I'm kind of wondering. And it's like, oh, phew, it didn't happen. It just turns out, like, you know, customer says whatever. I'm like, oh, wait. So then I respond politely, respectfully, carefully. It's like, hey, let me respond. And they come back and they go, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. And I was like, oh, phew. It was just a slight miscommunication that could have blown up into some shit show, but didn't, because I took the time to go, just because I'm having a bit of a feel for this, just because I'm having a bit of a feel right now, doesn't mean I should respond to it or react to it or make assumptions based on it. And I've never been scammed. Not once. Not once. 4 years, almost. Where am I at right now for sales? I think I'm at almost 8,000. Let me check. I'm over here. I'm clicking the shit. Let's see. How many sales have I got? 7,634 sales over the last 4 years. I'm in the social medias where I already know for a fact that scammers love to play. I've never been scammed. Never. Not once. Other people are in the social medias, shit-talking, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They are just shitting all over everything, and those exact same people are coming back going, I keep getting scammed, I keep dealing with this keeps happening, that keeps happening. It's like, because you are putting a big bullseye in yourself. You're angry, you're acting desperate, you're making it very clear that you don't want to play, I don't like the rules, therefore I'm not going to play by the rules. And I've seen that. It's like, I don't agree with Etsy doing this, so I'm just doing it my way. And it's like, but you can't do that. It's like if you come to my house and okay, we take our shoes off when we come in the door. Okay. You come in and you're going, no, I don't take my shoes off. That's not what I do. I don't believe in that. It's like, then don't come into my fucking house. This is what Etsy is. Okay. People are trying to force their way into Etsy's house. Okay, in order for me to make money off of Etsy's 90 plus million buyers need to be happy with Etsy. It's that simple. So if I'm a dick, I'm not going to have a good time. And if I'm not having a good time because I'm being a dick, Etsy's not going to take my side and I'm not going to have a good time. So two things are happening. 5% of the people cause 95% of the problem. People that are new, inexperienced, because Etsy is beginner town, and that's okay. I was beginner town when I showed my first year. I was a beginner. Abso-fucking-lutely, I was a beginner. It's okay to be a beginner. Own it. Own it. Deal with it. Whatever. Don't walk in going, I just opened my shop 6 months ago, and I'm not paying my bills yet with this, and this is sucky, and Etsy sucks, and I hate Etsy, and all you haters are right, and this is why I hate Etsy now. Don't give in to that. Don't give into that. Don't give into that. You're going to find out you're doing something wrong. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. Your choices are to fix the problem or become one of the haters. Pick. Anyway. social media and disgruntled social media's not social media because of social media, but social media is just a place where negativity thrives. You go on to Reddit, you go on to Facebook, now you're sitting on fucking YouTube listening to me. So you go on to social media, negativity thrives. People love a good popcorn train wreck. They love it. So the current social media environment really, really, really gives way too much attention to that shit, so that it becomes a slog to work your way through all the little bits of garbage to find the actual real information. If you have a strong ability to learn from other people's mistakes, then social media is great. If you are the kind of person, and this is where you have to be self-aware. If you're the kind of person who goes, well, I always have a really hard time if somebody says something, I tend to believe things that people say, especially if they're very strong-willed about it, then you need to maybe not spend as much time on social media. That might be a thing that you have to do. I'm a fan of social media, forums, whatever, but I'm also very, very much aware that this saying 5% of people cause 95% of the problems, because 95% of the people they'll do their thing, they'll move on, they'll do their thing and move on. I used to work in telephone customer service. My longest, most tedious, most problematic calls was that one person, because they're time consuming. They don't fucking stop. They keep coming back for more. It's a never ending fucking thing with them. So on the surface, it looks like it's, no, 95% of the people are having the problems. Only 5% of the people are having a good time. And it's the exact opposite. If you're in a social media group and you're seeing this, one of the tricks that you can do in Facebook, and you can do it in Reddit too. If you see somebody, Etsy sucks, and here's why Etsy sucks, and Etsy is such a horrible fucking place, and yada, 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 click on that person's name. It will bring you to their activity. Now, in Facebook, it will bring you to their activity in that group. At Reddit will bring it to anyway, click on that person's name. What kind, how active are they? It's like, you're talking about how Etsy sucks this and Etsy sucks that, so, they're in here every day, all day. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes you spot it, sometimes you don't. And sometimes people just aren't having a good time on Etsy. Like I said, if you don't like people, I always joke around that I hate people. I'm old, I hate people. It's like, but if you actually do hate people, if you think of your customers as just idiot, you're an idiot and I need you to buy my product. If they are just a resource that you don't fucking respect, then you're going to have a hard time. And it's going to be super, super easy for you to believe this bullshit. And things are going to go wrong and you're going to handle it badly. How can you handle something? If somebody comes to me and I don't like them, if some guy that I can't stand walks up and says, hey, Peggy, blah, 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 I'm going, yeah, fuck you, don't bother me. You're wasting my time. It's going to affect, if you really, really, really see your customers as the enemy, if you see Etsy as the enemy and your customers as the enemy, it is going to have an absolutely negative impact on how you are going to treat your customers and how you are going to treat Etsy, and you are going to make mistakes, and you are going to be absolutely immune to any advice or information that can help you with that. So you're just pissing into the wind at that point. Anyway, some people have that attitude and do well in their businesses. They are in the minority though. Those people are less than 1% of Etsy sellers. I can tell you this right now. I've been doing the social medias. I've been doing Etsy. I pay attention to shit. Like I said, I drink my morning coffee and hit the social medias, and I'll do whatever's catching my interest that day. I don't have a day job. I've got way more time for this than most people do, which is why I end up doing more of it, which is why I end up having all these fucking opinions about, if you hate Etsy, don't get an Etsy account. If you hate Etsy as a seller, then why are you on Etsy? Stop trying to force this to work. If you hate your customers, stop trying. If this is how you are going to approach your business, then just don't fucking do it, because you're not going to be around for long anyway. And then you're going to be back with, Etsy shut me down and I don't know why. It's because you're making mistakes and you don't want to fix them. And you're angry. You're fucking angry. Of course. Okay. Let's say I get a bad batch of fabric in. I sew. Sewing is my thing. Let's say I get a bad batch of fabric in. And it did happen the one time. Fortunately, it only happened to a couple of people. And it wasn't a problem because everybody was nice. Let's say I get a bad batch of fabric in. And I don't notice because there's something wrong. Something's wrong. I don't know. What could be wrong with a batch of fabric that I wouldn't spot? But anyway, I get a bad batch of fabric in and I sell a bunch of my stuff. and then I get 20 people come to me and say, hey, this is a fucking problem. Well, if I turn around and go, all 20 of you were fucking scammers, what the fuck is wrong with you? You guys should be happy that I was able to sell this to you. This is art. This is quality. I have a policy and fuck you. What the hell? What the hell? For starters, your best way to grow on Etsy is by word of mouth. Etsy has a search engine, but that search engine, there are 7.5 million people competing for that attention. The best way to grow your Etsy business is by word of mouth. And if you're treating your customers like crap, then you have to rely on the Etsy search engine 100%. So that means that, okay, jewelry, there's got to be at least 1 million people selling jewelry. Good fucking luck if you're not building up a clientele of your own. And your clientele can come from Etsy. Oh, I had a really great experience. I want to buy from you again. Oh, I had a shit experience and I'm not going back. And I'm going to tell my friends. I'm going to tell my friends. I'm going to be on my social media saying, yeah, I bought a thing from so-and-so, something went wrong, and they said, oh, what the fuck is wrong with you, even though the product itself was defective because she ended up with a batch of defective fabric. That's not a way to do business. Anyway, okay, I'm really harping on the it's your fault. What I'm harping on, I don't want any one person to feel like they're being called out. What I am harping on is people who are at fault, people who are disgruntled, people who are sour grapes. Sour grapes. I wanted to get an Etsy business and pay my bills with this business. Oh, I didn't make any money and now I'm angry. Okay. I'm not accusing everybody who's upset with Etsy of being like this, but what I'm saying is that for every one person that's upset with Etsy for whatever reason, well, not for stupid reasons, they're influencing other people around them to be upset, and they're exaggerating the reasons. They're exaggerating the reasons. If I do something stupid and I'm embarrassed and I'm this and I'm that, I'm not necessarily going to be happy about fucking admitting it. And these are people. Social media is a great place to go and talk endlessly about how I did nothing wrong. Here's why the world hates me. Go on Reddit. Am I the asshole? Like, you see it every fucking day. Am I the asshole because, my kid turned 18 and I kicked them out and they have nothing and now they're homeless and I don't know why they're upset because it's like mama bird kicking baby out of the nest. He should be grateful. It's like, no, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot and a bad parent, okay? Like, okay, my kids moved out young, but they had a place to go. They chose to move out. Okay. So people do stupid things and then want to be validated in their bad decisions, and they don't want to hear about it. They do not want to hear about doing things better because they want to be patted on the head and told that they did it perfectly to begin with. People with that kind of attitude, and like I said, I'm on Etsy. I have a camera, I have a good light, and I have a computer. I can make videos, and I am. Here's my fucking video, okay? If I'm a hater, I'll tell you this right now. If I'm a hater making videos about how much hate I get from Etsy, I would get way more fucking views than I'm getting now. So it's like, wait a second. Hate sells. Anger sells. If it bleeds, it leads. It sells. People come in. People that are doing this, they just need to go. They just need to fucking go, and we need to stop giving them the bandwidth. We just need to. Okay, so my rant, I need to stop my rant because I don't want to blame. If you're coming into Etsy as a new seller or you're established but you're not really growing, you need to learn how to cherry pick. You need to learn how to distinguish the difference between somebody who is angry and mouthing off and doesn't and they're just on a downhill track. And they're not, and you need to distinguish between the good advice and the bad advice, and that can be hard to do when the people with bad advice are willing to stand and shout it from the mountaintops, and the people with the good advice are doing well, and they're busy, and they can't spend, which is true. If you have good advice to share, you're probably also busy and don't have the time to be on social media 24/7. If I'm only making 3 sales a year, and I hate Etsy, I've got every fucking day, all day long, because I'm not busy. I mean, the people who are doing really, 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 really well on Etsy, they're not on social media. They don't have the fucking time. Like I said, I'm semi-retired, so I've got the time. I'm on social media. But the people that are on social media that have the time are usually because their shops aren't doing well. Or they're not, okay, let's say not doing well. Not doing as well as they wanted. I've watched people. I've set up my shop. It's been 2 whole weeks, and I've only made 6 sales. And I really need to be making $1,500 a week. What's going on? What am I doing wrong? It's like, well, you're not being patient. You've made a mistake. Not a mistake in opening the Etsy shop. You've made a mistake in your expectations. Well, that's just too bad. I need the money. So where's my money? Why isn't Etsy sending me traffic? Well, why aren't you doing more to attract traffic? Right? Well, here's some things that you can do. I haven't got time for that. It's like, well, you clearly fucking do, because you got hours to be in here on social media losing your shit. Why aren't you on other social media attracting positive attention to yourself? Okay. Keep saying I'm going to stop, and then I keep not stopping is what's going on. I need to stop. I'm going to go. I am absolutely fed up with the number of people who are losing their shit where Etsy is concerned, and they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. People that are coming in shit talking, it's like, some of these guys, you get them talking and you find out that what they want to be doing on Etsy is shit that's going to get them shut down. That's why they're mad. They're having a hard time on Etsy because they're doing things all fucking wrong, but they want to be recognized as an expert, so they refuse to take the advice. I've seen it. This isn't working. How can I improve on this? It's not working. And you say, oh, try this. Oh, that won't work. I know that won't work. Have you tried it? I don't need to try it. I already know that won't work. I need better advice. It's like, anyway. This is a real shit show to wade through for most people. It is daunting. I have talked to people who are like, I was going to open an Etsy shop, but I'm not going to now because after finding out what a shit show it is, it's like, no. The sellers are the shit show. Disgruntled sellers are a fucking problem. And I am going to tell, I tell it like it is. It's like, I'm an Etsy fangirl. I don't fucking lie. But it's like, I really wish Etsy wasn't putting so much of a focus. Okay, like they started up with a star seller badge. I really wish Etsy wasn't putting such a strong focus on this. It doesn't change anything. Whether or not you have the badge has absolutely no impact on your sales, on where you're showing up in Etsy searches. It has absolutely no impact on how you get treated if there's an issue behind the scenes. It has no impact on anything. But because so many people love the idea of standing out with a special badge, Etsy puts extra attention into letting people know it's there, and then watch the misinformation. I've got my star seller badge, but my sales haven't picked up. It's like, because you don't need it. It's like your shop still sucks for whatever reason. Your products still need room for improvement. Your shipping is a problem, and you won't take responsibility when something goes wrong. All these things are happening that you're not acknowledging, that you think that as long as this happens, and people are like absolutely fucking immune to the advice. And the minute you say, I do not have the star seller badge. Star seller badge requires that 100% of your 95 plus of your packaging be tracked, that you respond to every communication within 24 hours, and that you maintain a star rating of 4.8 and up. Well, I've got an average. My ratings are 5. I'm averaging at 5 stars. Fine. I don't respond to messages within 24 hours because sometimes I respond. Sometimes I get busy. We do all our shit on the weekends, whatever. Within 24 hours, that's 7 days a week. I am not going to stress about being on my Etsy shop 7 days a week on the off chance that a fucking message comes in. And I already know, and I don't always track. So it's like, okay, I'm going to start spending an extra $100 a week on tracking to get a badge that nobody gives a shit about, and that Etsy does not. Etsy knows that it's a perk that people enjoy having, but it's not going to impact how Etsy treats me. Either in the search. Okay, so I'm not being impacted by this thing. People are literally, if you don't have a star seller badge, Etsy Etsy will block you from searches. People believe this. It's like, I don't have a star seller badge. I show up all the fucking time, and I don't have a problem. I don't have it. I don't try for it. I don't think I've ever gotten it. I mean, I might get it. I might get it if the communications are happening right. There are people that will bend heaven and earth to get that badge, but their products are falling apart in shipping, and they're having nothing but fucking problems. And it's like, well, Etsy hates me. Etsy's doing this. Etsy's doing that. And it's like, no, that's not fucking happening. That is not how this is going. Ugh. There we go. My camera was doing something weird, and it was like, and it's like, it looks like I'm shrinking, and I'm not. Anyway, there's another tangent for you. I said, I should go. Let's talk for 10 more minutes. I should go. Let's talk for 10 more minutes. Okay, Star Seller Badge is a really good example because people literally close their fucking shops over it. Who closed their shops over it? The already disgruntled people that were already feeling too restricted by too many rules I'm gonna go over to Shopify and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. It's like, oh, you're gonna spend $100 a month just to get off Etsy because they have a perk that you don't even need. That's not how it goes. They'll block you from searches if you don't have this. It's like, oh, well, it hasn't even launched yet. How do you know that? Oh, it's just common sense. Etsy hates their sellers. It's like, that's garbage. That is garbage. Etsy loves their sellers, but they also love their buyers, and they want everybody to have a perk. It's like, this is the thinking of if your only tool is a hammer, then everything around you is a nail. And it's not true. Just because Etsy has a big toolbox doesn't mean you have to use every single fucking tool in it. It's like, doesn't make sense. Okay. Anyway, I'm ranting. Lots of haters hate Etsy, and I hate the haters. So that is basically my TED Talk. And do not let that shit stop you from trying to start out on Etsy. Be more discerning in who you're willing to listen to, on whose advice you're willing to take. The minute somebody starts sharing war stories, you're looking at somebody who's... Sometimes it's helpful. Hey, I had the same problem, and this is how I solved it, and my customer's really happy. Awesome. I want to hear that story. This is why customers suck. This is why I hate Etsy. Here's my fucking war story. Etsy sucks. Etsy's horrible. Your takeaway is that Etsy sucks. I don't want to hear that. That's a waste of... it's a waste of my fucking time, and that person just advertised to everybody that they are somebody that you shouldn't be doing business with. And you can't convince them of that. Oh, I'm just sharing my real experiences on Etsy. It's like you're sharing how much you fucking hate Etsy and how far you're willing to go to get your own way and do this and do that and to break the rules and act like that you're the special fucking snowflake. I don't want to do business. I do not want to buy from somebody who is improperly packaging their stuff. They make post after post after post about stuff disappearing in the mail, showing up broken, having huge fucking problems, blaming the customer again and again and again. Because again, you see somebody talking like that on social media, click their fucking name. If I have one problem with one customer and I'm like, okay, this is a huge problem and I need some help sorting this out, that's fine. If it's the same person and they're coming back with the same problem, are you going to buy from the person whose products always show up broken? No. Oh, I make my products out of this, and then my customers get upset because they think it's that. I had that one time. I'm almost at an hour, so fuck it. I'll finish off with a little story. I don't know if it's still popular or not, but a couple of years ago, it was really popular to do name signs where you have this big board, your family name, like, Smith, Jones, whatever, and then you put it beside your front door as a door sign, or you could have Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever makes sense. Somebody was selling these, okay? What he was doing was he was staining the wood. Awesome. Staining the wood. Awesome. He was deceptive. People were calling him out on this, and he was like going on. He was going, you know what? I should have started this whole thing with a single example based on one person or one particular thing. Anyway, so people are buying his stuff, getting it shipped to them and going, this was pine. This is pine. What are you doing? I thought I was getting mahogany. I thought I was getting cherry wood. I thought I was getting this because he was staining it, which is awesome. Plenty of people are doing it, and plenty of people are making enough money doing it. What he was doing was red, black. There's one that's a little greenish. They should know that it's stained. I shouldn't have to tell them that it's stained pine. Pine's a very soft wood and can get damaged in shipping. So what he was doing was making these pine boards. These boards are like 6 feet tall by like 10 inches wide, and they're sometimes they're just painted, and sometimes they're like use a router and do the thing. So I don't that's not really a thing up here. So I don't have I've never seen one. I've seen little ones. I've seen the little ones in person, but I've never. Okay. Anyway. He's losing his fucking mind. I cannot believe these fucking idiots this, these fucking idiots that. He is talking down his customers left, right, and fucking center, calling them names, being an absolute dick. He was in a Facebook group, one of the bigger Facebook groups for Etsy sellers, and they're telling him, you need to, this is going to continue to be an ongoing problem for you, because what he was doing is he was doing these things out of pine, which is a soft wood, and then he was shipping them by just simply wrapping them in one layer of paper, taping it shut, and throwing the postage, throwing the label on it, and sending it in the mail. So you're sending a single pine board in the mail without any bubble wrap or anything to protect it, they're showing up dinged and dented. And he's going, oh, that's the character. That's the this. That's the that. He's using wood with knots in it where the knots have fallen out. Oh, well, they should know that it can come like this. They see the knot in the picture. They know knots fall out. It's what they do. So he's making all these excuses as to why this product, there's nothing wrong with this product because. And everybody's telling him the exact same thing. You need to put it in your description that you're using pine and make sure that that is one of the pine board. Make sure that that's very, very visible so people understand that they're getting stained pine rather than exotic woods, right? Well, I guess cherry and stuff like that. I guess maybe they are exotic. I don't know. Some woods are surprisingly more exotic than others. Like, anyway. So people are thinking that they're getting a particular type of wood. Okay? They're not. They're not getting that. They're not getting the right kind of wood. They're expecting it to be showing up without dents, dings, and scratches. And some of these boards are showing up broken in two. You know what he's telling them? Oh, if you buy some really good wood glue, you can just put them back together. Wait a second. So, well, it's not, if they're lost in damage and shipping, it's not my problem. They're damaged in shipping because you're not packaging them correctly. No, that's not it. And this guy was he was in a different group. I would have booted him out of my group because he was such a fucking hater, referring to his customers as idiots, pinheads, morons. He hated his customers. They were just a source of money for him, and anytime there was a problem, he got pissed. And then this guy was back again and again and again and again. This was a big group, and he was so fucking active in the group that I started recognizing his name. Like, I mean, I'm talking a group with over 50,000 people in it, and he was such a hater that every time something went wrong, here he is. Oh, I can't believe my customer wants a refund because their board cracked in half. It's not my fault that the shipping company had a problem. It's like, it's absolutely your fault. What are you doing to secure your package? Nothing. That's not my problem. It's not my responsibility. This guy was a dick. People were believing him and sympathizing with him. Learn to spot this shit. You'll have a much easier time. Filter through the garbage. Get to the shit that matters. Get to the shit that's actually helpful. And you will. Helpful, useful information is there. And it sucks that we have to work so hard as sellers to get to it. But that's the reality. So stop sympathizing with the haters. Start looking for the good. Stop giving them the attention that they're looking for. Look for the people that are actually giving useful information, and you will have a great time on Etsy. Get a lot of good help. Blah, 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 blah. That's all the things. I've got to go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. I'm trying to take over the world. This is my first step in world domination. Don't you know? And I need your subscriptions to get there. And in the meantime, I will talk to you later. You guys have a great day, and hopefully I'll have a more positive one coming up in the next one.